All right, here we are, folks. Thank you so much for joining us here. It's getting started a little bit late because Sean couldn't open the door. He is a Republican after all, so I'm just kidding. No, we're glad to be here inside Millennial Brewing. This is a Democrat and a Republican walk into a bar, and I'm your Democratic host, Dr. Cindy Vanier.
I'm your Republican host, Sean Hartman.
All right, and I'm going with the pickle beer today.
I always do my orange gin pickle. I'm very basic like that.
He is a basic white bitch.
Yes, I am. Like a lot of our lovely Republican women.
He just can't wait for PSL season.
Yes.
Pumpkin spice latte.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. Like the basic white girl. Okay. So anyway, we are in the middle of summer. It's like a super duper heat wave. Did you make it over here all right? Were you on a bike?
I was busting bike, so yeah, it was a bit of a bike ride, and I get in, and they have the door closed, but the knob is locked, so I assumed they were closed. And if it just pulled it would have been fine.
I saw him like coming up too. I was like, oh, he's here, and then he wasn't.
And I wasn't there, and I texted her. The work phone was in the car. It was the whole thing is miscommunication.
I think the heat like scrambled his brains.
It does, yeah.
So I hope if you're out there this weekend having some fun, make sure that you're drinking water and staying cool, because we do have what has been described as a heat dome over here with feels like temperatures well into the hundreds. There was a pop-up rally scheduled for downtown Fort Myers City that got canceled because of the heat. We definitely want people to stay safe out there.
We are in Southwest Florida over in these definitely not safe temperature to be outside for a long period of time.
Yes, yes. So other than that, well, actually, that kind of leads us into one of the big issues that's going on here in Florida, and that has to do with alligator Alcatraz. Speaking of uncomfortable places to be in the heat, there are new folks who have jumped onto the lawsuit. We got the Miccosukee tribe had jumped in. Lawmakers came in since we got together last and got to tour through the facilities. There have been reports of overflowing fecal matter, folks not being able to get access to their lawyers, so there's class action lawsuit going on with that right now. And just generally speaking, being in the center of the Everglades during a heat dome is not the place that you want to be.
For sure, now obviously conflicting reports, because they did have that so obviously you had a lot of people who saw it and thought that was fine, but you don't understand that there is air conditioning and stuff there now. I think the issue again when it comes to access to lawyers, this is something that I'm very clear on. I am okay with legal mass deportation as long as it follows the law. People do have the right to access a lawyer, and people have right to habeas corpus. People have right to go through the proper process. Now, immigration courts are a little bit quicker than the normal judicial system, but they still have the right under due process of the law. That shouldn't be violated just because of right to mass deportation.
I'm all for due process, and I do hope that those folks are getting it, just like anybody else that would be under the jurisdiction of the United States as per our Constitution.
Correct. And again, this really comes down to, again, if you don't have due process, how can you tell someone is actually here illegally or not? All right? You can have someone who's an American citizen, they don't have due process, they can pick out someone who's a legal resident who has the papers being picked out. So the due process is really to protect people who might unfortunately get swept through the cracks during this important process. And it's fair to expect that. It's fair to respect that. I mean, for somebody as Republicans who I'm assuming wouldn't want to be swept up in all this legislature, and if they're shipped over to alligator Alcatraz, that they have access to a lawyer who would be able to say, no, this person's an American citizen, get them out. And so it's fair to ask for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And because there's been actually a lot of folks who were quite surprised by being targeted during these mass deportations, there's a growing movement, I understand, called Leaving MAGA. LeavingMAGA.org is an organization that has been started by Rick Logis, who is a former MAGA operative who has come over and decided to help folks who want to leave. And I actually got to see some of these Leaving MAGA folks out in the wild, so to speak, at a rally, the Good Trouble rally down in Naples this Thursday. And that was a rally that was put together across the country to commemorate the life and work of former Representative John Lewis, who was quoted saying, like, let's get into good trouble. And I had actually posted about the Leaving MAGA because I had seen like a little photo of it. And then lo and behold, I actually found some folks who were out there on the streets supporting it right here in Naples. So, any thoughts on the Leaving MAGA movement?
Yeah, I would love to see the actual numbers of people who are leaving MAGA before we celebrate. I think good luck with that. Look, I'm sure you have many over, and I always consider myself more MAGA-like than anything else. Like a diet MAGA.
Diet MAGA?
Diet MAGA. Diet MAGA. Like, I agree generally with the policies, not always the tactics type of situation. And that's where you might get some people on that. But again, I would love to see the actual numbers because, of course, Republicans did this in reverse of the walkaway movement.
Right.
So, you know, this is what
except for that was totally astroturf, and I literally saw real people. That's what I was saying. Like, I've seen it in the wild.
I know I have met walkaway people in the wild as well. So yes, they do definitely exist.
Ah. All right, MAGA Light. Whatever helps you sleep at night. So what other issues are top of mind for you?
So there's a few. I think one of the biggest issues that is surprisingly unified Democrats and Republicans is, of course, the Epstein list.
Ooh, Epstein.
This has been actually the way that Republicans have been responding to this. It's really tickled me off. When it comes to, first off, let's get some background for this. So we had the Student Action Summit, which is Turning Point's biggest event. It's like one of their huge conferences that they do every 6 months.
Yeah, it's the Hitler Youth recruitment.
It's not a Hitler Youth. That isn't definitely in the.
All right, I'm just joking, but
yeah,
Charlie Kirk is more less Hitler Youth and more like
he's
Three Stooges.
Well, actually, I'll say this because I want to bring this up. So Turning Point has sort of entered into the Christian nationalist realm.
Oh, okay, they're Christian nationalists.
Yes. Yeah.
Pardon me.
Yeah. Well, you use that. Yeah. Not Nazis. In fact, they literally kicked out like 2 or 3 people who were trying to challenge Israel. Like, this is a very pro-Israel organization, not something Nazis do. But what was very interesting in all this, I was supposed to go.
I thought you went.
I did not.
Oh.
Let me tell you why. All right. So Turning Point USA was going to allow me to go, pay for the expenses because I was, you know, that I'm in the process of graduating. I'm not law anymore, but I was on the board for the FGCU Turning Point organization. So I was going to be the only one that goes. I found out 2 weeks before the event and 2 weeks after you could drop out without any consequences that this Christian organization is taking students as young as 14 and putting them to a bank. So for me, I'm like thinking this is an organization that talks about some strong Christian values and going into culture war, yet are putting a 14-year-old child with another 14-year-old child in the same bed with these programs, with this program that they're doing. Now, my other issue is I only found out by emailing them. Everyone else got their hotel reservations a week before the event.
And realized it came with their very own 14-year-old?
If you have a very own 14-year-old. All right. So talking about Jeffrey Epstein here, this sounds like something on Epstein's Island going on around here. Yeah,
they're grooming the groomers?
It's concerning to me. It was concerning to me, so I did not go. Because I don't want to be in bed with a teenager. I'm sorry. It's just not an ideal situation for me. But here's my bigger concern. If they only emailed these to the other students who were going a week before, did the parents know that this was going to be the scenario? Would the parents have approved of it?
Yeah,
so
probably not.
This is something that is very concerning, and I do love Turning Point. I know you don't, of course, but I think they are a great conservative organization.
They certainly are a great conservative organization.
You say they're pretty. They've done a lot. You can't deny that they've done a lot. But this was something that it was very concerning for me. So I did not end up going. And because I'm not going to sleep in the same bed as a teenage boy. I'm sorry. It's not who I am. I know some people may think that, but that's not who I am.
Wow. Well, that is a fascinating turn of events compared to the conversation I thought about Turning Point USA.
Yeah. I have the emails, I have the receipts, and I'm more than happy to send that out to anyone because this is something that I think is an accountability issue. But again, that was what was so interesting because, of course, throughout Turning Point, the Epstein files were the big issue. You know, you had Tucker Carlson talking about it, Charlie Kirk talking about it.
Right.
Everyone and their mother was talking about it. It was a big issue on everyone's mind. By Monday, obviously, you had President Trump truth out. Anyone who's my supporters is an idiot if they keep looking for these Epstein files, which, again, I am just so frustrated on that because it's a whole lot of gaslighting over there.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes over and says that, and all of a sudden, Charlie Kirk's like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. And see, man, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's not talk about it. There are other issues. Oh, fallen goose step in line. I hate to use that term, but that's how pissed off I am.
Speaking of Nazis.
I hate to use that term, but I mean that. That's how pissed off I am about this. This is something that is a very serious issue, and it's nothing to do. They're making it about Jeffrey Epstein. It's nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. This is about justice for the victims and prosecuting the rapists. And I want to repeat that: rapists who sexually assaulted young teenagers.
Yeah.
All right. And that it does not matter who they are or what they're associated with. All right. And you know what? There's all this talk about, if there was a foreign intelligence operation or whatever. Even if that was the case, that has nothing to do with, again, what we're talking about with this justice for the victims and persecuting the rapists.
Yeah.
All right. So even then, you can. It's not even about revealing the quote unquote Epstein list. It's about, are we going to get charges, criminal charges, against these rapists?
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you have so many MAGA Republicans, you had MAGA Republicans Thursday, Friday, Saturday, were like, this shows that we're not a cult. We don't just follow everything Trump says. And Monday, Tuesday rolls around.
To be fair, the whole Epstein is rolled onto the QAnon thing and the global cabal, and
that's an entirely
which is its own cult, but
QAnon
it's like it doesn't absolve you from being in a cult.
QAnon is a very interesting.
But it's part of the thing.
Yes, you're right. It is a part of.
That was the big thing. It was all about how the revelation of this was going to prove.
What happened to that plan we were supposed to trust Q?
What happened to that plan?
What happened to that plan Q? I was trusting that plan Q. What happened to that plan Q?
I think Michael Flynn fell with the fucking line. That's what happened. Oh, Michael Flynn is cute, dude. Oh,
no,
come on.
The HBO documentary is the guy who started 810 or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's 100% fucking
like
Michael Flynn.
Was definitely a part.
And he's been fucking leading the psyops from fucking Sarasota ever since. Jesus Christ, get with the times, my friend. All right, get with the QAnon lore. So, so I'm like all for releasing the files. I am all for, no, and like we're totally cool. Like I want the transparency. I want the people to be held responsible, and I want to make sure that people are, getting justice. And I don't give a fuck if it's Bill Clinton on the list or Donald Trump. Like fucking take all of them. Like I don't care. I want to see people, not become victims of child sex trafficking. People talk about the Mossad connection with Jeffrey Epstein a lot. I really do think that there is something with there. I know that I have heard through various other intelligence components that who is been involved in this type of stuff is very high level compromise, which explains maybe why it hasn't been put out for like so much. But I don't know. Like, what do you think about the whole thing with Pam Bondi saying, "Oh, it's on my desk," and then going, "Oh, you have a list." Actually,
I'll give her the benefit of the doubt.
And then the influencers.
Yes, the influencers is the ones who really pissed me off because you all had the freaking forms and walked out there like you had something, and now you're all like Jack Posobiec was on his podcast, like, yeah, it was just all things we could have searched on ourselves. And all of that type of stuff, and it's, all these different things that were just nothing burgers. Well, then why didn't you report them as nothing burgers at the time? Because you were playing under their hands, and they're all thinking themselves like victims. All right, no, you were a part of this little psyop that they did.
Right.
So, Pam Bondi, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. She said, like, wow, started that. And they're probably not even literally on her death, to be honest. She's just being hyperbolic at that point. And I also don't think that, Jeffrey Epstein kept a literal list of everyone who came in and out of his place. But, you have so much video evidence, for example, of the island. You have, as Pam Bondi has admitted, actions, video activities of sexual assault against children.
Right.
Yeah, don't release those, but you know who's in those videos, the rapist. And so I would imagine you could figure out who that rapist is, and then, I don't know, prosecute them.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in prison and shit. She didn't know it was a hoax.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell has all that information. I would be totally opening to free Ghislaine Maxwell if she gives us all 100%.
I think that I've heard that she's in talks with her lawyers about this.
Yeah.
So
Just get her up. I don't care. Just give us all the day.
I mean, here's actually my whole take on this is like, I don't want to talk about it because I'm very much fucking over this. I feel like it's a distraction.
So you're very much like Donald Trump. It's all a distraction by the Democrats.
No, it's a distraction from the
Democrats
fucking other horrible ass shit Republicans are doing, like building fucking concentration camps in the Everglades and like fucking decimating our economy with tariffs. By the way, how is that core price index this past month? Yeah, the consumer price index.
Well, it hasn't been my understanding that the inflation has been as bad as it's been. We'll see what happens.
Oh, that's horseshit. It's fucking up 2.9%. And and it's directly related to tariffs, and it's going to get worse when more tariffs hit in August. So that's like, here's my take, honestly, on all this shit. Even I will actually say, even things like the Everglades camp, even as fucking horrific as I think that is, all of this stuff is to grab people's attention so they're not paying attention to these other smaller changes in government, which would be very big news with a lot of scrutiny if it wasn't for these other things that were happening. It's far more, interesting to talk about the Epstein files or the potential of a fucking concentration camp than it is, the complete undermining of the higher ed system across the United States, or the dismantling of every piece of history within our national parks, or the numerous people that have been fired throughout the government, how we don't have a FEMA director that even understands that there is a hurricane season, right? So, and on, right? I mean, it's like there are serious pieces of the administration and the bureaucracy that have been rolled back that we have yet to see the consequences for, that if one of those things were to have happened in any other presidency would be the center of focus. But because we're in a fucking hurricane presidency, right? Like, we can't keep track of it. Yeah. And so, we got a fucking Lyndon McMahon body slamming education across this country. And you can't keep up with it because you're wondering who the fuck is on the Epstein list. And that's why I said, I don't give a fuck. Send them all to jail. Send them to fucking alligator Alcatraz. I don't give a fuck. I want to see what's actually happening in this country.
Well, I think that is a fair argument. Probably what Trump is trying to say, but it's definitely coming off wrong. And again, this is to me a much more serious issue than let on. And it's just very disappointing that Republicans are so willing to on that. I know this is the one thing.
Here's the
other actually part of it too, real quick, that I want to bring up. All right. So because of all of this response, Trump decided, I'm going to have Pam Bondi ask the grand jury files to be released. All right. That's not going to happen. That is a false flag, guys. I hate to break it to you. Because here's the thing. First up, that's going to take months for them to even get it to a judge. Then the criteria to actually release grand jury testimony is so high that the judge is basically going to not even dismiss it, essentially. So now Trump gets to say, well, I'm not going to release the exit files because the judge said I can't do that. So, which is ironic because this is the same guy who's been attacking our judges. And so it's like, anyway, so there's just been this a very big disappointment, I think, for a lot of Republicans, not just me.
Yeah. Like I said, lock them all up. I'm totally fine with that. Take fucking Bill Clinton. We'll give you fucking Bill Clinton. I don't think there's any Democrat that is going to die on the Epstein Bill Clinton hill. Okay. Yeah. Fuck a Bill Clinton.
Democrats have become Republicans. Let's be honest.
Yeah, y'all can have them motherfuckers too. So I will say, okay, so here's the thing I want to know. And because I love giving shit to Dan Bongino. It's like a very big passion of mine because he's like one of the only people that's blocked me, because every time Dan Bongino is trending on Twitter, I tag him and say that he's a loser carpetbagger that got only a tenth of the number of votes in Florida 19 that I did, which is a fucking fact. Look it up, Dan Bongino, and fucking keep crying, bitch. So he blocked me, like the fucking whiny little baby that he is. But he's continuing his history of being a whiny little bitch because he wasn't able to release all of the Epstein files. So, do you think Dan Bongino is going to quit? And do you think that Pam Bondi is going to get fired?
Pam Bondi is definitely not going to get fired. President Trump has made it very clear that he's going to keep Pam Bondi. And that's also kind of making me wonder if Pam Bondi actually knows whether or not Trump is on that list or knows information about Trump. And that's why he is keeping her around. I'm not saying that for a fact, but that is.
So it's like a double compromise.
In case if she has information that it implicates Trump, then he fires her, then she's free reign.
I mean, Matt Gaetz is making the case. Matt Gaetz is making the case. And actually, I was thinking about it too. I think if Dan Bongino quits, he's going to write a book.
Yeah.
Which
all of them know it. So I don't think Dan Bongino is going to quit either.
I almost think that he got smacked back into submission.
Yeah. I don't want to say that clearly,
Yeah.
but yeah, sure.
Yeah.
He definitely decided to come back.
Try harder, carpetbagger. All right. I think we've thoroughly gone through the Epstein list. So what other things are going on here?
So we just had the decision package as well. I'm sure you're not too happy about that.
You mean the largest transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top in American history?
Well, I was more referring to the cutting of PBS and USAID.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah, where there'd already been appropriated funds to USAID, as well as the funds for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Yes, yeah. Cool. That's one of the only times that's ever happened in history as well, to claw back money that's already been appropriated from Congress. Yeah. They really stuck it to fucking Big Bird, didn't they?
Look, I think.
Good job, everybody. Fucking what a win.
Look, there's a lot of great programming on the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. I will say that. But at the end of the day, I'm not a big fan of state media in general. I don't think
it's not state media. Less than 10% of the overall budget of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is 10% comes from the federal government.
So why do they?
Because here's why. So as you can see in our own hometown, places like WGCU, which is our local NPR station that focuses, it's actually housed at the university here at Florida Gulf Coast University, and does stories on things like blue-green algae, the Panthers or whatever, right? It's those institutions that are going to suffer the most, because those are the ones that have the largest portion of their budget that come from those federal grants, especially the ones that are in rural and underfunded areas, which are probably going to be closed. Some of those places have up to 30 to 40% of their budget come from that federal funding. WGCU does not have that large of a portion that comes from the federal budget, but it's enough where they might not be able to have as much staff and do as much local reporting as they had in the past.
Thankfully, we do have other media outlets that can also do local reporting. And the other thing is that, my understanding, some of the rural funding for some of the rural areas has been preserved. But I would have to double check on that.
It's not. No, that all is cut. So we're probably going to see some of the smaller, independent stations close, and that's just really unfortunate for those folks. But that's okay. All those people in the rural areas are going to be fucked anyway because of the cuts from Medicaid that are going to close their hospitals. So they're going to have no public broadcasting and no hospitals to go to. So I guess move to New York City. Right, Sean? Yeah, it'll be a fucking great place. It'll be way fucking better than having no health care, no fucking warning system, and no local broadcasting.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting sight to see for sure. But here's where I will agree with you on. I definitely think, especially with funding that was cut from Medicaid, that will affect the rural hospitals. That additional funding needs to be allocated for these rural hospitals. I do know there are some Republican legislators who are trying to push for that. Obviously, there is that argument that could be made. Well, if you're trying to push for that now, why don't you push for it then in the big beautiful bill? Why did you vote for the big beautiful bill? Funding.
because they didn't know, because they didn't fucking read it, because they just did what they were told.
These bills, okay? This goes back to even when we were having these discussions on Obamacare, where it was like, well, we have to pass the bill, no what's in it. This is so common on the left and the right, and it is a problem. I absolutely agree with you. And there should have been a longer period of time. There shouldn't have been this arbitrary deadline. We're dealing with, first off,
this is all Trump, man.
Yes,
this was Trump's arbitrary deadline, and he was the one that wanted the one big, beautiful bill, right? And to put everything in there, which, by the way, many Republicans, and you included, have wanted to have individual budget items instead of a monolith that you're forced to pass.
This is the problem with our budgetary process. We basically are forced to vote on a all or nothing bill that has good things and bad things, and then because they vote for the whole bill, we're stuck with all these bad things. And now you have all these senators who didn't want the bad things, but were forced to vote for the bad things.
Well, boo-hoo, motherfuckers, do your job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel fucking bad for them if they can't figure out how to fucking do their job.
We need to have individual appropriations bills. That would be the best option, because then we can have actual discussions on the individual spending itself. And when we have those individual discussions, we can, for example, find out where some waste, fraud, and abuse actually is. Actually debate, okay, maybe we want Medicaid here or not here, or what we're going to do here, and then you can vote on that separately without it affecting everything else in the budget, without it affecting, funding for this or funding for that. So to have that is clearly the better option, but it's really an aspect of control from both parties. They want to have these comprehensive bills, because if you vote yes on the bill, you're voting for all the good things,
and there's a certain amount of political cover that comes with that as well. Is you're like, oh, well, I had to, blah, blah, blah. And so if there's something that's not popular, and you're just like, well, I had to do it for the greater good of the party and the blah, 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 blah. It's all horseshit. It's all horseshit. I know.
Where, I feel like we should end this.
Wait, no, before you do this, I will say, yes, we definitely agree on this. But there's one thing that I want to blow up before the end here.
Okay,
I want to blow up this fucking fantasy that the Republicans have that because of this work requirement on Medicaid, there's suddenly going to be all these people that want to come work. That is not going to fucking happen, because actually the vast majority of people who are on Medicaid are already working.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the people who are not working cannot work. Right. Yes. They have Alzheimer's. They have some other kind of disability. And like, I even heard Republican lawmakers talking about how, well, this is not for the single moms with kids. Yeah, they're already fucking working. Like there's not going to be this massive flux of people that are suddenly like, oh shit, I don't get my Medicaid, I better go work in the fucking fields now. Like, that is not happening. It would never have happened. That is a big plus for a lot of people that I've heard of this bill, and it's simply false narrative.
So I will say, I do think that there should be either a work requirement or a pathway to work with all of our welfare programs, which many of them there are. But what you're saying is absolutely correct. Well, a lot of these people, and this is why you had a lot of MAGA Republicans who are trying to speak to the working class, saying this is going to affect our people, because you have a lot of working class Republicans who don't make enough money, who don't make ends meet. I mean, look, even with me, I work full time, making more than $15 an hour. What the left says is a living wage.
No, we don't. That's not what we say.
That used to be what you guys.
That was a living wage like 10 years ago when we first started those operations.
It's no longer a living wage.
But it hasn't been the living wage in Southwest Florida. The living wage, even for an individual person like yourself, is about $21 an hour.
Correct. Yeah. So I am living paycheck to paycheck, working full time. All right. I don't take welfare, but I could probably, because again, I'm like many people struggling while still working full time, and that is.
Well, where are your bootstraps, Sean?
Yes, I have my bootstraps are folded up. Okay, this isn't, so you do have a lot of people on welfare who are working full time as well. That is the sad truth of it all. That is why, affordability tends to be the biggest issue, I think, of any political campaign these days. And that's where, when we talk about stuff like tariffs, we talk about stuff like affordable housing. When we look at the Republicans freaking out, we don't have time to talk about this, but this Grand Mamdani campaign up in New York City, which I will actually love to talk about at some point, because Republicans are pissing me off on that one too. But we have to get going soon.
I'm not a New York City voter, so what do I give a fuck? I don't fucking care. best of luck to the voters in New York City. I mean, I think it sounds pretty cool, like some of the things he said, but again, it's not my race. It's like what I said.
Why is the Soar on Mamdani so popular? Because it's talking about affordability.
Yes.
All right, and even Republicans can recognize that, even though they disagree with the solutions. So affordability is the biggest issue for everyone. We are not making enough money. Working class is not making enough money to survive. And with that is why you get, especially a lot of young people, who look at the capital system that we have, wonder what's in it for me. I'm not benefiting it. The rising tide isn't lifting my boat. And so this is where we need to start having an honest conversation about affordability, about wages, about inflation, about all of it.
All right, I think we shall. And by the time we get to our next episode, we're going to be into tariff land, or I don't know, maybe taco land.
Yeah,
we'll have
we'll
to
see.
And
I've never heard of tacos so much.
All right, so this has been a Democrat and Republican walk into a bar at Millennial Brewing, and I've been your Democratic host, Dr. Cindy Vanier. Thanks so much for joining us here today with a brief episode and a little bit of a shortened time, but we hope that you'll join us at future episodes and keep an eye out on our social media of when we're going to have our next show here, hopefully live next time 2 weeks from now at Millennial Brewing. Come and have a drink with us. We did have an audience for us today, so thanks so much for joining. We do have plans for special guests coming on in the future, and we would love to have your support moving forward. So go ahead and subscribe to our mailing list at bigmouthmediafl.com and get a plan to support the work that we do. $49.99 a month helps us keep the lights on. You can pay $49.99 a year, and then we'll email you all of our great shows, blogs, articles, podcasts, audio, video, you name it, we're going to put it in your inbox. You can find that all on the plans and pricing page at bigmouthmediafl.com. Thanks so much for joining us here today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.